Hello everyone, my name is Yuta Jazz, and today we are going to do a reading about what are you hiding from? Because the two readings I did this week are literally the ones that called out when I was kind of reviewing what we're gonna be doing this week. Just a little bit of a reminder, I have started streaming again, and I've been doing tarot mostly. I do either generals, so you don't queue up, or you can queue up and then you get a personal reading for yourself. So feel free to join that, and you can find out when I'm streaming by checking out Blue Sky or Twitter that I have, or Discord if you're on there. So yeah, that's just a little bit of info for anyone that doesn't know. I might start streaming video games at some point. I mean, that's pile number one, but I can't hide it, so that's gonna be pile number one. But I don't know, maybe someone's gonna skip to the pile selection, and it'll be good to have it that way. Ta-da-ta-ta. I don't know if we're reading reversals this time. I'm wondering. I'm wondering. Maybe it will be, maybe we won't. I heard no top and bottom, so yeah, those are the five piles. Pause if you want to like look at them covered, because I'm gonna start like flipping them over. So that's one, which we kind of knew that was gonna happen. I I won't be reading them out. I'll do that in the piles. So you just pick and choose whichever one is calling you out or calling to you. I don't freaking know. Maybe you will be called out. I mean, the reading topic kind of symbolizes that, right? So yeah. Okay, reversals are important for some damn reason, so I'm not gonna flip them back over either. So yeah, we're gonna head over to the pile that we need to get to first, and then progress. So see ya there. Hello, pile number one. So yeah, you chose. I recognize that I have chosen fear, and I choose again. I choose live. I want to sneeze already. Oh gosh. Yeah, no, there was not no stopping that one. Anyway. You might be releasing some fear, I guess, is like the first thing that's coming through. A lot of heart activity, a lot of grounding into Gaia, or the earth. I feel like in general you're grounding out your chakra system, but primarily there's a lot of purging coming through with the heart. A lot of fear-based mentality is leaving you, and you're realigning with a new level of love, with a new level of understanding what it is to choose love in your life and to go by that frequency or vibration instead of actually going by the ideas that are of fear. Because it can be a little bit confusing at times, right? You might be thinking you're going by love, but actually you're going by the fear of whatever it is, not having love, of not giving it your all, or choosing the right option, or in general, like you might be thinking that you're going by love, but really you're going by the fear of love, the absence of it, the not choosing of it, whatever it is, right? It can just get confusing like that is what I mean. It's all that I mean. So yeah, there's a big thing happening with the eclipses, I want to say, with you, specifically eclipses. There's something that becomes more apparent during these periods of time. I would recommend doing a journaling little sesh thing that is only for certain moon phases. Primarily eclipses are coming through though. If you're not quite aware of what you're going through within that like time frame, Spirit is like letting me know to let you know to be mindful about it because something important is unraveling it's gonna like get eclipsed out of your life basically by the end of the year, by the end of the year. Yeah, you may be a little bit isolated as well. Some of you are just kind of like facing your own shadows, your own inner demons, and then also like expulging them or whatever the fuck the word is out of your experience, but also probably out of your daily life, in terms of people, activities, and things you kind of got used to. You kind of got used to. You might be feeling a little bit scatterbrained or like you're mixing things up or something. Um, I'm not quite sure exactly why. That just kind of came through at the beginning of the reading, and I didn't mention it, and then it's really hitting me now, and now that I've said it, I'm like fine again. So it's really weird. It's a weird feeling. I don't know why. I don't have anything else to read about that. I think I just needed to mention it, and that's it. So your healing can't complete until you really call in something that's going to like come full circle or be like a complete end to a certain circumstance or a life event or experience. So the way I translate that or say like you need to actually call something out of your life. Like you need to call it. You need to name it. You need to make a new decision about it, and then you need to just say that you're done with it, and it will perfectly line up with your life cycles, with your life seasons, with the timing. It doesn't feel specific as like I don't know, like school or something. It feels more personal, like a feeling. So sometimes in life you do feel like a thing of like if you go to a event or a specific gathering, a celebration, meet up with a person or message them back even, just open up like a certain, channel of communication, whatever that might be, even if it's not text-based, like any type of communication, right? You will reignite another cycle. You're going to go through another trip with them through life for whatever amount of time that would signify for you personally. For some people, it could be like you can cut off the connection then and not do the same thing, and it will stop a year cycle, a 5-year cycle, 10-year cycle, 15-year cycle, even. It depends on the person and it's very much particular and unique, but it seems like to you, for you, there is a cutoff period coming on where you will feel your soul calling you to stop something, to not engage, to not do something. You may be lucky and it'll like brush off of you as a thing of like you can't force yourself to do it anymore. You even if it's as simple as I don't know, ringing someone back or setting up a meeting, right? Or going to meet up with them actually and you'll be like, oh, it's fine, we can do that next weekend, and that next weekend never fucking happens ever again. For some reason, something just like completely splits up you and that person, or you and that activity or thing or behavior. It can also be kind of like I'm getting the idea of also addictions. So instead of, let's say, giving into that last cigarette, you decide not to, and it keeps you off of cigarettes for another month or year, or even 5 years, honestly. You somehow pick up a new behavior, or something changes with your neurochemistry or energetically, like you close out that cycle of you being a smoker completely because it just lines up with whatever you're going through. But you need to identify that thing, whatever this is. You need to call it out and you need to say, no, I'm done. We're not choosing that, like, recognize that you have been doing it out of self-pity, self-doubt, and like, neglect, basically. Like, some type of guilt and shame is coming through with that I have chosen fear part. Um, and if you're not quite aware about what we're talking about, ask yourself, what do you keep doing out of fear? What do you keep doing out of self-pity, out of guilt, out of shame, out of neglect of yourself, out of doubting yourself, right? What do you keep doing? And you might be surprised, some of you, by what pops up or comes up. Maybe it's not as easy as a unhealthy relationship or an addiction, right? Maybe it's actually something that seems like a good thing that you're doing, like working out like heavy or constant, right? I'm not saying to completely stop that, but maybe you're quitting overworking, for example, right? Being a workaholic or being, I don't know, just in general in a different mentality about it than you should be, right? Maybe it's switching the way you focus about it, but I feel like it's actually completely stopping something and quitting something. It's not just a thought or a behavior, it's a lifestyle thing, is how it's coming across. Because the medicine wheel it shows wholeness in all of your different aspects and who you truly are. It's kind of like bringing back all of your fragmentation to one point and then having that life journey going on from there. And you have like two cards that signify major life cycles and living by that. So it's kind of like getting out of loops into better loops or quitting loops forever so you can just not experience that type of energy. Um, yeah, coming full circle, bringing all of yourself back home to who you truly are, not ignoring the signs of what you need to do to go forward with your own elevation and who you truly are, right? Not lying to yourself anymore, being honest about who you are and how you hide that behind certain behaviors, maybe societal brainwashing, maybe just being attached to certain people that aren't good for you no longer. So yeah. What else do we have? Seriously? That's kind of a vague reading though, Spirit. They're telling me like, no, you're good, we're done, we're moving on. And I'm like, but, but it's like, go, that's it, we're done. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it. Um, do the thing, be happy afterwards. Good job. You came up to a point where you're gonna quit for good. I don't know. It just feels very like specific and abrupt, and that's fair enough, and that's good. I'm not gonna fight spirit on it, but I will say thank you for coming in and having this reading. I wish you the very best. I wish you peace and blessings and a miracle or two, as we all deserve them. And yeah, have a good one. I hope to see you again in another reading. I don't know what to tell you. See ya. Hello, pile number two. So you got, thank you, universe, for helping me see beyond the limits of fear. Thank you for expanding my perceptions so that I can see what is of the highest good. You're hiding from something that you can't see? What the heck? You can't see something clearly because you're too close to it. And the way I would translate that is like you're too attached to it, you're too emotionally involved. You're kind of like covering something because you feel like it's not that bad, like you're coveting something that isn't good for you in your life. You're keeping it nice and close and snug, but actually it's to your detriment because it's masquerading as something good for you, but it isn't. And this is kind of like a calling out and a warning shot to you so you understand that maybe sometimes it's better to just let things lie and have their own fate instead of letting them be saved by your good graces and your love just because you think you have a relationship with it or them. Because there's many things in this life and in this world that use that to their benefit, not to yours, and make it seem like a relationship because otherwise like they can't keep using you because you have something. I don't know what you have something. You have a power, you have like influence, you have affection kind of feels like it's hitting the mark. You have affection and care and hospitality and love, and whatever this is they don't have it. I would assume this is a person, but this also could be a livelihood or a project of some sort, because honestly, there's a lot of soul-sucking dead-end jobs, and I mean dead-end in energy, that don't really provide to people, they take from people. Just because you get a paycheck doesn't mean it's good for you. That's just how it's coming across in this reading. I'm not necessarily gonna preach on that, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna have like a rude awakening, like something's gonna happen, and if you're not open to understanding the wisdom behind it, you're going to be upset about how is this happening? Why is this happening? This is not fair, universe. Because you're meant to wake up from this like daydream of like, no, this is mine, this is good for me, this is like what I'm living by, like because on some level you even identify with this, and it's not good for you because you're meant for bigger, better things, or just for something that's healthier to you, that isn't like using and neglecting you and not really providing anything but masquerading as something that is important to you and your life. Okay. So yeah, Spirit is just letting you know, like, we're gonna make this apparent to you, and it's not going to be in a nice way, and it's not against you. It's just this kind of like flew out. I don't know if any of the cameras freaking noticed that. I think you did. Um, so we're gonna put it down here, but I think the card speaks for itself. This reminds me of the Queen of Swords a lot of the time with the Page of Swords in one. There's a lot of like in general air energy with this, right? But also the crown and everything else. And the broken glass is either, you can see it in many different ways, but here I think it's going to symbolize like a broken mirror more so than just like a glass ceiling. Um, yeah, this is a broken mirror. Something is mimicking you. Instead of being it itself, truly, it's mimicking you. It kind of gives this weird feeling of like, imagine you think you know someone, you really like vibe with them, you believe them, you spend a lot of time with them, and then eventually you go to a party or a pub or a gathering of some sort, and you go away quickly. You go away to the bathroom, and when you're coming back, you actually overhear them talking to the whole group about how you are weak or naive, or they're using you, or they're just like gossiping in a negative way that doesn't benefit you, and you really are attached to that person. They've seemed like a really good friend, you spend a lot of time, you think you can trust them. This is the vibe that I'm getting from this card, is that you kind of like get this shattering effect in an experience or a situation of some sort, where you think someone has the best interest at heart for you, but then in a weird circumstance or scenario, you realize that they've never been on your side to begin with. They've always seen you as less than, and maybe they've said some things, or some things have come across a certain way, but this is like the final nail in the coffin. It's like they've gotten so comfortable that they've managed to slip up properly for you to notice that you're so much better than whatever you have been around, whatever you've been exposed to, and whatever you've been giving your attention and time to. Your kinship is how it's coming across. Like yeah, your kinship. This is like a kindred spirit vibe that's like broken, like being disillusioned from someone or something you've thought was like a brother, a sister, a close family member. A beneficial experience, or a beneficial like yeah relationship, or a safe space. It's not been a safe space actually. Plus side, it will crown you. Not that it's gonna feel great, but it is going to let you understand that you kind of need to stand tall in who you are and how you are, instead of expecting that to be like a byproduct of where you are, or who you're with, or like what you've accumulated or what you've achieved. Like, we don't actually have any status, role, or power just because we are around a certain type of people in a certain job, or a social class, or because we have a certain amount of like money or items. That's not how life works. Our value is determined by who we are at a soul core level, by our integrity, our values, and our decisions that come from that core. Just because you think you've had something good around you doesn't mean it has been good for you. And that is like one of the figments of like the veil in this world. There's so many things that can seem like they're your friend, but they're not. And you're going to really understand that on a deeper level, and you're going to be able to teach other people about how to live their life in the right way that's actually for their highest good, how to set healthy boundaries, how to be more aware, how to be more open-eyed instead of like hiding from the truth that might upset or scare them. I think you haven't really questioned this thing enough. If you had given that a chance or a choice, you would have seen it right away, but I think you were too afraid of offending this that you just blindly took it on as like, I'll trust this and believe this instead of like, I'll question and I'll see for myself, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay, so this has always been in the cards for you. Like somehow this was a predestined thing that was meant to be experienced. It was set up. It was always going to happen. It wasn't ever something you could avoid. Besides it being something you were born to experience or go through, your ancestors said, like, okay, we really need someone to quit this, to stop doing this, because I think there's just like this person in each aspect of your lineage. Like, every family has this one person, every family branch of your tree has this one person that has been too good for their own sake. They've been too naive or sheltered or something, and they couldn't understand how life and things didn't work out for them, or they always had this bad luck, and it wasn't because of them. It was because of people surrounding them. And you're the first person to break that for good. So every other person that's like such a leader in being a soft heart and a wise seer in their own sense gets the blindfold taken off from them, because you will see so much more after that, and you'll understand like why you're a soft-hearted leader and why you are a seer in your own right, or with this. It doesn't seem quite that for you currently right now. I think you kind of see yourself as meek and weak in some senses, but you're so much more than that. You're also so much more than your environment. You just need to actually see that. So, yeah, focus one step at a time. You will not feel good about this. I'm just warning you, you will not feel like you know where to go or what to do. That's because you still need to grieve and process what has occurred. You won't be able to move away from this right away. You will need to like go through the alchemy process of like grieving, being pissed off, yelling, getting rid of some shit, like letting yourself actually go through the breakthrough. That's a bit of a breakdown because the whole mirror is being like completely shattered, right? And then you're going through these motions, kind of like these papers, these flying like pieces of paper. I think they're pieces of paper. I don't fucking know. Um, but it is yeah, that grumpy, stage of like arguing and anger and whatever, then it's kind of like coming to an acceptance and then actually taking off and flying off. You could, doubt in between. You could also kind of go against yourself and be like, well, maybe that's not how it went and etc. But after bargaining and everything else, you will understand that you're better off just going your own way and path and taking this on as like beneficial to you. So, um, this is just a bit of a heads up. Like, don't start doing new stuff right away. Give yourself time to go through this and like completely end it and then start looking to new enthusiastic like prospects of moving forward and experiencing yourself anew and like being reborn and all the rest. It's not supposed to be like this snap and that's it. We can't move on from things that we are close to that quickly. Like the whole process is basically heartbreak. It's not great, it's not fun, but everyone goes through a little bit of pain and heartbreak. Some go through an immense shit ton. I think this is just a necessary step for you and your growth, as uncomfortable as it is, but it's also going to really like make you be more honest with yourself and take your life into your own hands and really like be your own boss instead of kind of being a part of the crowd because you're not meant to be what is it the saying like a wallflower which I don't know that saying kind of always went over my head from what I understand from like years of sitting with it but I think you're not meant to be a part of the background basically you're meant to stand out and do something in the long run, and this is necessary to build your character. People that don't go through heartbreak, struggle, or other things, right? Like they kind of sometimes can lack identity, understanding, character, a backbone, right? And in general, like pizzazz or personality that really like matters because it's honest and genuine. Like you kind of go through your own forging through your own fire. And this is what's going to occur for you too. You can't hide from the truth forever, especially when the truth is you wearing a crown. So, anything else, Spirit? No, I guess that's it. Uh, we're good. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope this has helped. I hope this has been a good heads up for you. I wish you ease and prosperity going through this. I wish you, understanding as you'll go through the anger and the other emotions that might be included or involved with this process. And yeah, just know that you can rock it with that crown and you will be fine with time. Other than that, thank you so much for spending your time here, for sharing your story through the cards, and I will see you next time, hopefully, and I hope you come back here. So, yeah, peace out. Have a good one. Hello, pile number three. I am getting so much right away as soon as like I pulled the card down. So you are avoiding the point that you're your own manifestor and creator. I think you keep feeling disempowered because, like, one, I think you've been following the spiritual path and you're following something all the time, and that's just the feeling and the sense, or you're kind of going with the flow in life, or you're kind of just like looking to the path as what you're walking, not what you're creating. Cause this is screaming the point of like you are your own manifestor and creator. Wake up, wake up, wake up, get out of it, snap out of it. It's time for you to be aware that you're not the same person, you haven't been the same person, and you've went through the evolution. Maybe some of you or most of you, I don't know, are chosen, and whatever that means to you or whatever you subscribe to, like we'll go with that. I have yet still to make an episode with that topic in hand, but basically, either way, you still have a say in your life. You still have a pull in the direction you can follow or how you want to experience yourself. You can still daydream. Sometimes you will feel a block there, and that's probably for a reason, and that's supposed to be there. But there's also a point of how you can experience yourself as seeing actual positive movement that is going to be beneficial to you and an actual happy experience going from the moment you're currently in. Because one, some of you need to look back and see at the huge journey you've had and then maybe like attribute some points in where you've actually called it into presence and manifestation, like how you've co-created with spirit. You need to look back and see that because some things you've definitely called into fruition and other things you've just in general like created. Another part to it is going forward, yeah, you'll need to fulfill your own purpose or meaning, or you're gonna like still be following like a certain path of like enlightenment or evolution or whatever you want to call it, right? Because you want to be, it's kind of like if you had a choice, you've chosen to be on the right side of the law, let's just say that, or you've chosen to be aligned with a higher force, right? That is highly beneficial, maybe unconditional love, maybe just magical in a sense. I don't know what you've aligned yourself with, but whatever you've aligned yourself with is still gonna be something you go with, walk with, go through. But you're still a part of spirit. You're not just following spirit. You're also spirit in itself, experiencing itself through the incarnation of the universe, right? So it's kind of like you need to admit that you are a part of the dream that's being dreamt. You're not just here to be a pawn or an experience or to just go with the flow or to keep following something constantly. Yes, be aligned, but understand you still have like a say in the ballpark because you're meant to find your own power in what you can manifest and create for yourself in terms of like joy and pure happiness and whatever. It's not being a control freak. It's not calling in absolutely everything you want or desire. But it is finding like a path forward that you're going to be happy with as at least a feeling. If you can't imagine specifics or occasions or events or the vague idea of a person, not specific, it's it's still kind of like how do you bring yourself forward instead of following someone? Because you're meant to bring yourself forward in the experience and actually have it because you want to, not because you're constantly seeking validation by following the spiritual path. You're meant for more than that. You're meant to actually understand how to have this relationship with spirit and be a co-creative force behind it without the need to be controlling and without the need to be selling yourself over to this force beyond yourself or that's bigger than you or higher than life. Interesting. I like that message. The drum. Serious? Out of all the cards, we gotta have it sideways. Okay. The drum is literally the card of using your own magic and calling it forward, calling action, creating action, using your God-given power, creating through who you are and that ability instead of like, I don't know, expecting it to just happen type of thing. We're not all just pawn pieces. Pawn pieces in the universe. Um, Even though sometimes we might feel like we're a part of a bigger chess game than ourselves, we are also, the players, the experiencers, the everything. It's a whole thing. It's a whole multidimensional thing. You're multidimensional too, and a part of you does want to have more sovereignty in creation instead of just being something that follows like the will of God or your ancestry or your guides or your higher self. Like our higher self also needs us to be sovereign in our own right. Free will is important down here for a reason, right? How you exercise it and what you do with it is a whole different thing. You can sign over to benevolence, but you can still also have your own space and place of experience and calling in some stuff, right? Having the experience of learning. Oh, I think you're afraid of accountability behind your own actions. That just came in for someone. Like, it's easier to follow something than be like, what is the meaning behind this? Instead of like, well, I like that I did that, but I don't like that I did that. Where are we going from this position, right? Because every action has consequences, positive and negative. And sometimes when you reach a certain level of enlightenment in spirituality or a certain like level of experience, you understand that everything's going to be a good and a bad thing. There's no excuse. There's no avoiding life for what life is. It's meant to be everything. Sometimes, yeah, it's one-sided greatness, one-sided love and happiness, and etc. But a lot of the time, it's unavoidable in pain and suffering and mistakes and a little bit of like maybe embarrassment or other things. But you mature through it. You reach newer levels, higher realms of experience, but new levels, new devils, is how it's coming across here. And if you don't like that word, it's just new levels and new challenges in a higher form that you've you have yet to experience. So it is going to be a learning curve. You can't avoid the vulnerability of that. Life is a point of experience through vulnerability and then growth from mistakes and failures and successes and achievements. So don't be afraid of that. Welcome it. Find the strength within yourself to understand that you're meant to be this part of love within life and experiencing what there is through it. Because then you'll get what you want. I think you're not getting what you want. Things are not changing. They're a bit stagnant as fuck. And you're like, when am I gonna get my time? When am I gonna like actually receive the harvest that has been promised to me? And I think the last step you're getting into currently is like, how do you surrender? Yeah, while you're still calling, calling creation in as well with your own opinion, viewpoint, what you want, what you don't want, etc. Like you still got to experience yourself. If you just give yourself over, you're not experiencing yourself, you're just experiencing whatever it is outside of yourself you're following. And believe me, sometimes guides can do some crazy crap that way. It's better to be present and conscious in your own life and, be the driver as well as having the journey or the path you're following. All right. Yeah, you're gonna receive everything that was promised to you, but you gotta still get there through the roads you're gonna pick, or you're gonna need to like draw a map out for yourself, or like, I don't know, a state of experience, or you gotta outline some desires. I think one of them you're avoiding because you know it's just not gonna be a great experience in whole, but something about it you really want, and it's like hard to admit that you might want something that's not gonna be pleasant. I don't know why that's scary to you. I mean, it is a controversial point, right? We are complicated beings. Why would you want to experience something that isn't pleasant? But to you, it's kind of like I don't know. I feel like I'm talking to like quite consciously complicated people in a positive and best compliment way I could say that honestly. Like I don't know, psychonauts are kind of coming through, but you're not supposed to necessarily fall into that category. It's kind of like the reason psychonauts are coming through is because they go through journeys and trips where they know they're going to hit a lull at some point or something horrible and horrifying and fucking terrifying. But they accept the journey and they can't bail out of it. They do it. And they do receive a lot of wisdom or understanding or great experiences that no one else can ever experience because it was them going through themselves with themselves through the journey, right? And yeah, you can't control that. You will be unprepared at points, but the experiences, the highs and the lows are both aspects that they strive for. It's not just the highs and like peaking and tweaking all the time. Although some of them might say that you can't have it one-sided like that. It will eventually hit you on the side with an unexpected turn. The recommendation that's coming through is like understand what you've already called in and you're enjoying currently as part of your harvest, because there are some things that you have already received as part of your harvest that you have co-created. It wasn't just spirit that brought it to you. Yeah, maybe you want to say that it was just spirit, but you also called for it. You called the order and you were like, can I please have this? I want to experience this. And you got it, but you've not given it credit. Understand that you're figuring out your own way through like a corn maze. I don't know why corn maze came through. Something about corn. I don't know. Quite a common vegetable in some parts of the world, isn't it? I don't know. Read up about corn, the spiritual meaning of corn, the symbolism behind it. I don't know. Everything has a symbolism. For example, pomegranate, right? Very, very big fruit in scriptures in general, like fertility and other things and etc. But corn in this case is coming through as something you should check out or Google or whatever. I mean, solar plexus is kind of coming through with that. Something about eternal sunlight energy. I don't know. Raw just came through. I don't freaking know. Um, Whatever it is, it'll be illuminated to you. If you're struggling with whatever the message is that's coming through with this, give it until the next moon cycle, whenever that is for you, or whenever there's like something pertinent happening with the sun for you. Maybe it'll be like in your zodiac or in your ascendant or something. Maybe your moon. I think it's more so ascendant or sun, but it could be moon as well because some of you are like emotionally governed people that need to come to terms with something there as well. So some of you are gonna see something in the sky. It's gonna like click in with what you're thinking at that time. So as soon as you see something crazy in the sky, start looking back at what you were just thinking about or what you were about to think and continue and like figure it out and maybe make a note of it or just be mindful that that happened because I think that'll like open up something, a conversation with a guide, an experience that's going to like really build that empowerment power like feeling instead of keeping you stagnant within you keeping yourself away from being like a co-creator with spirit. I think some of you might have like a psychic ability open up to you, but you do need to be stronger in who you are in your core and being okay with coming from like that solar plexus energy, sun energy, whatever you want to call it, because otherwise you can't exercise this psychic ability well enough. It could just be an intuition, like, peak. It could be a consciousness awareness thing, but you can't use this to your full potential if you don't take accountability for you just being alive and a part of spirit's plan and experience. I don't know. There's still something there. I can't. Something about your birthday, maybe? And if you've had a birthday recently, but I don't know. It's not just that. Um, I mean, you'll receive more once this hits its peak. Fuck it, that's enough. I don't know. Like I keep staring here and I don't. I feel like I've said as much as I could, but there's still something hiding there. You gotta figure it out. I don't know what it is. Um, Something about your power and you reaching a peak in harvest, or vice versa. But something about that just kind of clicked in enough for me to be able to move on from this message, from this divination. Do we have anything else happening here right now with this reading? Okay. We're gonna pull like one or two cards from this deck and then we're gonna move on to the next pile. So, whoop, creation, seriously. I love today. Today's good with its synchronicities. Um, Legit being a part of creation. Being a part of creation. I think I need to read this card. Yeah, if anything's coming through for you with like looking into this card, then so be it. Like, have it, take it. Um, you can't be hiding from yourself anymore. I think you're being called to become not just like a conscious creator, but there's something else you're going to be called to going for from this ascension process you're going through. It's really, really important to accept that instead of like fighting it. Because the cat's out of the bag already. I don't know. You can't keep this door closed. You can't. Everything's coming through. So you're gonna have these experiences you're avoiding. Uh, I'm gonna try and get the card to read. So give me a second. All right, so when it comes to the creation card, what it says is bring your vision to life. That feeling needs to be given physical form. This is for me, not for you. Come forth, my beauties. It is your time at last. The creation card is also called the visionary artist card. It's time to make your mark upon the world. Don't be afraid to be or to create exactly the thing you want to see. Each step you take can bring a new world into existence after all. This outwardly focused card encourages daring action and unwavering originality. Let your creations loose and let your creations loose upon the world without shame or restraint. When in reverse, you may feel like a misunderstood artist who is out of step with their surroundings. Key themes: intense passion, willpower, ego, relentlessness, independent, self expression, dominance, genuine, solo, inspired, externalized, art, talent, dexterity, energy, magic. So there we go. That is your reading. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope this has helped you. Thank you so much for spending your time here, and I hope to see you again coming back. And yeah, let loose your creation. But yeah, peace. See you. Hello, pile number 4. I forgot where we're at. But yeah, you picked. Through prayer and meditation, I create a ripple effect of peace in the world. So a few things have come through. You don't really feel peaceful, one, and two, you're not really keeping up with your spiritual practices or even like spiritual hygiene. Um, I don't know, clear and cleanse your crystals, maybe meditate a bit, maybe put your feet in a nice bubble bath or actually walk on some grass if you can. Something about the feet is coming through really significantly. Maybe massage your feet. Let some tension out. You need to, I don't know, you need to get something out of your body, out of your energy. You're very tense and you're not letting yourself decompress and recenter, which is like stifling your creativity and also your connection to the other realm or astral or your guides, or in general, like just free, easy thought. You can't flow with easy, nice thoughts or creativity. It's too hard to vibe at that level. There's something calling you, you should not answer. It's just what just came through. Something's calling you, don't answer. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck they. I don't know what they want, but I don't know. I just feel like it's better to keep that away. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling, but something is calling you. Primarily, you're hiding from like self-care and really stepping up in your spiritual practices. It's how it's coming across. Like, um, maybe you need to sage your house and like the corners of the house really came through. Something might be maybe on the roof of your house energetically, maybe physically and really like maybe you've avoided doing spring cleaning, maybe you're not getting rid of some stuff. Maybe you're not having like the R&R and tender loving and care that you need currently right now, but you need to give in and do whatever you're avoiding on doing. I think there's some type of like thing of like some of you are new to the spiritual journey, but you're really strong empaths and sensitives, and you need to like sub do what you're gonna do, but if you want to feel better at a piece, you need to subscribe to some practices that are just going to be really helpful because it's like a next level mindfulness thing. It's not necessarily like, completely getting off the deep end woo woo. maybe to some of you it feels that way, but honestly, it can be like a meditative practice, like a new ritual you take up, just the same as like having your coffee, right? You just like stir it with a bit more love and intend it to give you more peace. Taking up like these notions instead of making them out to be something that's crazy, because I feel like you're a little bit standoffish with adopting something as a regular practice rather than something you just do in a blue moon. It's better that you take that on because it's going to help you mentally and in terms of health and emotionally. And it's just like a new you being emerged and born through. It's not something bad you need to be afraid of or running away from. But yeah, look into whatever it is. I think most of you already know whatever you're avoiding, but you just need to like give into it instead of making yourself out to be not normal because this is like the new you or something like that, or how come like I need to start doing this regularly, that's no fair, and etc. It's like if you kind of start like enjoying yourself with it and then seeing the positives of it, is it really bad for you, or are you just making stuff up in your head to judge it and yourself primarily? Because that then is a whole different thing you need to come to terms with and face instead of like avoiding something that's good for you. And some people are like scared of doctors when they're fucking ill as heck. So this is kind of coming across as like you don't want to get to the bad end of it because it'll be more work than it's worth. Whereas right now you can just adopt it like brushing your teeth every day and it'll be fine. And sometimes you don't need to do it every day or the same way or all, like it's something you can move through with and flow in a new way that's kind of like a fun creative experiment that's a meditative practice that isn't just meditating or can become that, but you can have as much fun with your life only as much as you let yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be void of it and you're going to be hating your guts for random, nonsensical reasons that don't make sense to anyone, let alone you. So, um, odd and interesting reading and message. I don't know what I want to feel. What have we been talking about? My energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest, and my vibes speak louder than my words. Yeah, so this pile kind of seems like the pile that's keeping themselves away from being too spiritual or woo-woo. And you're doing it because you want to stay sane, normal, rational, grounded, logical. You don't want to lose like you don't want to like lose touch with the grass, or you don't want to become ungrounded or like that person as it's coming across. Like you don't want to also be perceived as someone that's like wacky, woo-woo, spiritual, or is less to be believed, or whose opinions don't matter or invalid just because you have a different sort of faith or belief or understanding in how the world works and you're following different concepts for either your benefit or others or whatever whatever, right? It doesn't matter though. If other people are gonna judge you, they're gonna judge you. They're just judgy people. They're gonna find whatever they can to judge you by. At some point, it's going to be like you're too critical and too logical and too rational, right? Even if you have good opinions, or maybe your opinion differs from theirs, and it becomes like this whole thing. But if someone's going to disrespect you just because of what you believe and feel is correct or right for you on a practical or existential basis, or just notion of understanding, that is not a you problem. It's a you problem because you make it a you problem. That's a they problem. And they have their own beliefs and understandings, which is fair, but why should you subscribe to the same faith, belief, and realization of reality just to fit in, just to be respected, just to be accepted or loved? You are unique and you have your own perspective. Doesn't matter what type of, style you get attributed to. I don't know. Like the whole idea with hipsters just came through, right? How like everyone was hating on hipsters for a while, and now there's some people that dress like hipsters and it's fine. But it was a whole shebang, and every time there's something to do with something like that, it's either a fashion thing or a belief thing or whatever thing. But ultimately, you're still gonna have the friends you have, right? The more you're going to be insecure with this, the more you're going to disrespect your own understanding and feelings, the more you're going to manifest like controversial situations into your life that aren't going to benefit you and are not going to make you feel comfortable in terms of who you are and who you really are and how you believe life to be and work and etc. It's about you gaining more understanding of yourself and your understanding and the color behind like all of you, instead of just subscribing to this is, what I started following or believing or whatever, practicing, right? Every spiritual person is different from every other spiritual person. It doesn't matter if they're a part of the same fucking coven or the same group or whatever it is, or it really doesn't matter. They will be uniquely different. Every person that goes to church is different from every other person that goes to church because it's your own relationship with that thing and that faith and experience in life, right? Same goes with scientists and other people. Everyone's unique. So don't if you're afraid of like realizing your own potentials of life because you're afraid you'll be disrespected for it and by it, I would recommend questioning that. What is more important, fitting in or actually being happy with yourself and how you view the world and life and actually experience it? Because this is becoming so specific and sensitive to you that these practices are necessary for your well-being. Your body isn't gonna stop, your mind isn't going to stop, and your soul is definitely not gonna fucking stop about how you feel different frequencies, vibrations, how your body has different needs now, how your nutrition is shifting, how your preferences and your like, personal time and leisure is shifting. Like these things are going to keep happening. They're a part of your maturation and you're shifting personally into like a proper pure identity of yourself. This isn't just you following a fad. And you can't ignore it in the same way as just ignoring like a fad. If it didn't resonate with you, it didn't resonate with you. This is you coming out of a limiting foundation that was never a part of you or who you truly are. It was just somewhere you were born into and spent your time with, and then became accustomed to kind of live and be accepted. But you were always going to be accepted by somewhere, someone or something that is closer to home to you truly, without trying to follow like a social paradigm or narrative, you're always going to find your own people. They don't need to believe the same things, and they definitely shouldn't resort to discrimination and ridicule because you choose to, I don't know, do healing and, I don't know, believe in crystals or draw for meditation and or have like conversations about potential deities, angels, and I don't know, light language or frequencies or sound bowls or whatever it is, right? Like, it's better to question. You're also way more interesting to conversate with than to go by factual, logical, science-based like conversations. But I just, you know, it's just better if you don't follow a narrative that doesn't even serve neither you nor them. Um, it's just people like ridiculing things that they can't accept about themselves. If they can't feel comfortable in their skin as their unique self and they don't express that, they will find any other person that does that and they're going to attack them for it. They're going to go against them for it. And 58 is, I think, an important number because I saw 58, 58, and then it changed to 59. Um, so read up on that if you want to, but yeah, even if you completely fit into the box, they would still like find something to mock just because they can't handle like, real people being real when they can't be real. That's what it's coming across as. And don't worry, let them go because you have better things to do. And this is like if you keep following this my freaking heart. This is going to not only just make you more fake, but like feeling less authentic, and you're gonna feel like disconnected from the world, not just these people. Disconnecting from people is easy. Being disconnected from yourself and the world, now that's a massive hurt. That is a difficult thing to repair or reprimand when you dig into that, or when you're so far into it that it's kind of like, how do I get out of this? How do I feel alive and happy and like myself. So, yeah, just understand that it's okay how you're feeling and it's okay to want different things than other people want, and that it will create a new reality and you will bring in new people and different people, and your vibes are gonna be like a attraction to the right people, but also a repellent to the people that aren't for you, that just, they don't vibe. There's no resonance there. It's kind of like magnets. Um, it's okay. You'll attract the other stuff that is meant for you. So, anything else, Spirit? Let's pull one more card from here. Drum. That keeps coming out for fucking everyone. I picked that from the bottom. I picked that from the bottom. I didn't choose it from the top. Okay. Yeah, just be okay with it. Like, find peace and solace in creating the waves that you're gonna create and like having this new life be born from you. Take your time, don't rush with it, right? Let it take its own ripples and vibes, but also understand that you need to go through this rippling, through this frequency and vibration. Like, you needed to sort out some stuff, but also distort some shit out and just get it out there. So, because yeah, you're meant to be who you are, who you were always meant to be. Sometimes it's just coming out of that cocoon through I don't know, half a year like life or something like that, right? You can live a lot of time thinking you're one thing and then ultimately out of nowhere you realize like I was never that. I thought I was, but I was never that. And it's hard because, then feelings are involved. People, places get like attached. You get attached. But ultimately, it's better to just like go through the shedding and understand that not everything is forever. Sometimes things are there just because there's resonance and you go out of it. People and places can be there for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But if it's not for a lifetime, then just accept that, you spent that season and it was good, or it fulfilled its purpose and the reason's done now. It's okay. No one's at fault here. Doesn't need to be. And out of personal experience, if you keep, fighting it, it will get nasty. It's kind of like when people I don't want to say this because I feel like it might be a bit of a touchy topic for the reading, but I think I still am gonna, and I think it might be useful for someone. You know how in relationships you can either choose to stick it out when you first see that neither you nor the person is having a good time, or you can choose to move on. And if you try and stick it out, depending, most of the time it doesn't go right. You then start out of nowhere having like fights and it's kind of like a downhill experience from there on out, and then by the end of the relationship, people hate each other, they're at each other's throats, and they potentially have already cheated and stolen from each other, and like literally the love has not only just gone out the window, but it's become like a hate, like a fucking deep-seated hate out of nowhere. And you could have left each other when it was still good, when you've realized like sorry, but we just don't add up anymore. And you don't need to stick it out if there's nothing you can do about it. Check and see. Obviously, it's good to check and see and make sure, like, is this really what's happening? Or do we just need to get over this next level elevation type of thing, right? But most of the time, people mistake what is a next level thing, which is just checking out like your potential future, to the actual understanding that things are over and you need to just let them be over. Have your goodbye period, have your solemn, like, space and place together, have that grieving together, but come to terms and understanding. Like, you still leave and love at least. You don't fight the process so much so that it becomes rotten and the relationship is now like something you just want to forget and it's a stain instead of like understanding like we just grew out of whatever we just had. Like we've changed and we're changing into different directions or we're becoming different people or we got to go our own, our own destinations, our own like places, our own paths. And it's okay. It doesn't need to be like this bad, gruesome thing. So yeah, this is kind of the same thing. Have your goodbyes if you need to, but also understand like it's okay. It's not a process that's against you. You don't need to fight it. Who knows? Maybe someone's gonna change sides eventually, and they're gonna join you up in the future, having more of the same opinions as you do currently. But as it seems, you need to keep transforming and understanding that this is just like a frequency vibrational shift and you can't really avoid it. Your life is changing, and that's okay. I think that's everything. We're done here. So I hope you've enjoyed. I hope this helps. Peace and blessings to you. I wish you a easy, shift and transition for you to enjoy whatever you've been avoiding, because it seems like you've been avoiding just like some nature walks, meditation, journaling, watching some weird spiritual stuff, clearing your crystals, your rocks, getting a deck of cards, or starting to try and divinate with a scrying ball, or I don't know. You've been avoiding something spiritual that's actually going to be fun, and you're gonna get back into it and have a lot of like success. So that's really cool, and I wish you peace with everything else that's to come with or from that. And yeah, I hope to see you again. I yeah, I'm gonna leave it off here. Bye. Hello, pile number 5. We got there. So your card is I choose to learn through love. The way it's coming across is like you're choosing to be socially acceptable and follow like the norm, the masses, instead of choosing to do something that's gonna seem like reckless as it's coming across. Like something is going to seem rude, reckless, out of the blue, or a little bit, I don't know, unexpected, unhinged to some people because you're gonna choose something out of actual love and following intuition, like, I don't know, on some level, maybe spirituality, instead of going by the society's expectations or norms about stuff or things. Besides that, you're also choosing to not do something the way you've always done it, but you've not chosen it yet. You're about to choose it. It's just you're still kind of going like, but this is what is expected from me. This way I might lose my partner. This way I might need to start thinking about changing my job. This way I'm going to start needing to move. And what about the rent price here? What about my pay? What about the connection in the city? What about this? What about that? And you're going by like superficial notions that are just surface level needs, not actually essential to you and your soul's growth. And it's time for you to choose something that's going to be more important on a intimate spiritual soulful level instead of just going by something that is like a standard of living, or a standard of like how things are done. because it's better for you in the long run. You're going to have a lot more success this way. You're going to be happier and more emotionally fulfilled, but ultimately it does come to you choosing. This is a choice of yours. You can't avoid it forever, and if you don't make any decision, that is still making a decision. Usually we don't want to admit that, but that's just a part of life. Um, yeah, we're going with tarot for this one. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You're gonna start seeing more color in your life if you kind of just give in to the process that you're being called to. Because I think you've seen some signs of, and you've had some weird, like, in your head conversations. And it seemed like it was between different sides of you, but you were actually like talking to your guides and ancestors at some point, and it's important for you to admit like the spiritual process you're actually going through because it's for your highest good and your full like heart's content. It is for your heart's content is what is coming across. Don't don't go by like the safety and fear aspect because you've been brainwashed to believe that's the way to be safe in life. Go by understanding the process of like doing I don't know, stuff out of love and taking precautions and steps if you need to, but don't hold yourself back from living just because you've been so accustomed to being safe and secured and, kind of living your life by the standards of like, this is how you do it, this is how you do it. Life is so much more than that. And also, we're shifting the narrative of what is the norm, but it also begins with us. If we keep subscribing to the stuff that keeps us stagnated in fear, we're going to co-create it in the world. And don't push yourself out to the extreme of recklessness, but understand you still need to start taking steps in a way that is going to be a perceived risk at all times, right? But that's change in general, right? The human condition is always going to see change as a risk, as a potential failure. But also, how do you see improvement? Only through change as well. So you've outgrown something. It's important to admit that. Yeah, use your intuition, trust what you're getting, try divination for yourself. I don't know if all of you, I don't know if some of you don't do divination. Some of you do it, but you don't trust yourself. And it's like you need to get integrated and connected to your own wisdom so you can make the most out of where you're being led instead of just blindly taking my word for it, for example, right? Or blindly going by feelings that got stirred up or because sometimes people when they avoid something for so long or they go just by safety when it's time to shift and change or go by the contrary of that they go too extreme on the other side and they do things either blindly or recklessly or they don't take time or they don't understand that it's a process and expect results right away or just in general, like they move in a way that isn't for their highest good or in a good way. And it's like everything can be done in a healthy way. You just need to let yourself go there, you just need to accept it. Yeah, you are exercising your better judgment by not doing this, like not making decisions because you don't want to go through an experience that's going to unravel everything. Like you don't want to go through a tower, basically. But at the same time, you're using your better judgment then to keep yourself away from shift and change and possible improvement. I want to caution you and say, like, in the long run, in the long term or down the road, you might not be happy with that choice. You need to be open and honest and have an open mind and know that you won't be reckless. But if you don't give yourself the opportunity, then you're you're taking potential away from yourself. Because yeah, no decision is still a decision. It's important to remember that. Are we taking all of these? Yeah, no. Yeah, you're afraid to start over again. You're afraid of being young and naive and foolish. You're afraid to start learning again. You like the like superiority or the position of safety that you have currently, but it's also kind of empty. You're not getting everything from where you are currently. And all you'd need to do is like be open to start again, start over, start new, start fresh, and start leaving some of the, things you've like taken accustomed to or you've started getting attached to and over to. Yeah. And understand that it's okay to change, to shift, to become something else and someone new and try and live your life in a new way and perspective instead of like holding on to, order that doesn't please you. It doesn't make you feel any more happy or safe or successful or like you're really shining or like you're actually living. Like this feels like your life is stifled. Like you can't create, you can't express yourself, you can't realize your fullest potential, you can't really be who you really are. Instead, you're being stuck in a same position, in a same experience. And you couldn't instead let this progression go and happen. Because we do have progressing like cards here. We have 6 and 7 and then 4 and 5. But the 4 and 5, like the 5 is reversed and it's also like lesser, right, in a way, of value. And this is what's not really working, what's holding you back, and this is where you could potentially go if you gave into it. So, yeah, if you started letting go of some beliefs and understandings and just like attachments that you have, you'll be able to see how you can like foster and prosper within these new ideas of becoming a person that's happier, that's not stagnated by where you're at currently, where it's secure and safe, but you're somehow like not being fulfilled because you're not starting anew. You're not giving into like the fresh ideas of that. So, because you've already had these thoughts, like this shouldn't be something new. Like I sometimes do premonition readings. This is not a premonition reading. This is you've already had this experience, and we're calling out something you've already went back and forward within yourself and your mind. If you're feeling at all confused, conflicted, negative, or like you've not had this experience, where the fuck is this coming from? This potentially is not your reading. There's always an occasion where cards can tell you something you aren't as aware of, but most of the time they're going to bring forward something you already understand, feel, know, can intuit. Like it shouldn't be something out of the fucking blue. So yeah. I would recommend like letting yourself sit with what you've been fighting, trust your intuition, have those conversations with your guides, with the universe, with the stars, with ancestors, pray on it. Um, Connect with your higher self as well. Like, don't fight yourself and your wisdom because you are smart enough to go through this and realize whatever this potential is. Because I think it'll make you happy instead of staying stuck to safety and like a fear-based mentality. Maybe someone is involved with you staying where you are as well. They'll have their own choices to make to come with you or to go away, and that's their life and that's their decisions. But you can't live for someone. You need to live for yourself. That tower is going to come in one way or another. Even if you try and keep it away, it might just come in as like shifting everything on where you are currently, and you will still choose to stay where you are and you will choose to be there, but everything's gonna get like thrown around, mixed around, and discombobulated. And instead, like spirit's telling you, like you could initiate this yourself and bring a prosperous change in a way that renews you, that doesn't make you feel like old and stagnant. It makes you feel like fresh and ready to learn and expand and grow in life, you know? Because you are ready to reach a new level, to really like learn something else, to understand some new truths about life instead of thinking like you've learned everything and you've been around the block and there's nothing else to do. Like this is what life is about. I think you got a bit too comfortable somewhere, and it's about time to realize that and see something else grow out of it, because this order is like this way of being, this order, this pyramid, this whatever like control or system you're in, it's not healthy. It's not actually like divine. It's a system. It feels man-made, honestly. It feels like a brainwashing idea, like a social, program or stigma. Yeah, stigma, I guess is a good way of saying it. So you are your own key to your own freedom and justice, and experience it to the fullest the way you want. Um, that is, I guess, your message. And if you wanna figure out how to do that, question yourself, ask, figure it out, get into the creative energy of like receiving this understanding and notion, because you have like a clear connection of some sort, like some type of intuition. The Queen of Swords is really good at making bold, cold decisions, but also she is connected with truth and the divine, and can use that connection to her decision making, to her benefit. You could also potentially be an air sign, but I don't really read it that way. I think that's everything. Yeah, that's everything. Okay, so thank you so much for being here and spending your time. I really appreciate your energy. I appreciate you getting this reading, and I hope to see more of you. I also wish for you to have like peace and blessings and whatever else. I wanted to say prayer. I don't know why. But I will leave you here, and I hope to, yeah, see you next time. Peace, and have a good one.